Batwoman is living in a van down by the river. Now available. Paperback and Kindle Unlimited. ISIS, the main event. It's carnage inside of a steel cage when the goddess next door steps in the squared circle with the beast from the boss in this action-packed all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, the main event. Paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. The CW has finally found an actress to replace Ruby Rose in the role of Batwoman and Kate Kane. And that actress is your Javica Leslie, who will be playing not Kate Kane from the original Batwoman show, but she'll be playing a new character, Ryan Wilder. Now, when I take a critical examination of this decision to replace Ruby Rose with Javica Wilder and change the character from Kate Kane in the comics to someone who is not part of the DC Universe canon, Ryan Wilder, it looks like a desperate attempt to try to salvage the CW's Batwoman show and a desperate attempt to try to pander to African American audiences in an effort to find an audience for this show. Because over the last season, your Batwoman got panned and roasted by critics, and it practically alienated a whole host of comic fans out here who took to social media and got out their barbecues to roast this show because most of the content was not focused on the incredible run of Batwoman comics from the New 52, and it didn't adapt any of the content from that classic New 52 comic book storyline that many comic fans praised. No, what happened with the CW's Batwoman in its first season is it became a soapbox for social justice and identity politics, and we got cringeworthy lines like, "This suit will be better when it's made for a woman." And it was lines like that that alienated viewers and led to the show's ratings practically dropping with each episode to the point where near the finale, the series was getting numbers lower than the top YouTubers like Jenna Marbles and PewDiePie. And with these ratings lower than, YouTubers like Jenna Marbles and PewDiePie, the CW needed to do something in a desperate effort to try to find an audience for the show. And this is where the casting of your Javica Leslie comes in. The CW, knowing that they had no audience among white male and white female comic fans, wanted to fall back on black audiences and wanted to use a black audience as the base for building this dying show up. And this just shows how little respect your Greg Berlanti and the CW have for black audiences. They don't want to give us an original character as related to someone like a Mr. Terrific or even a Vixen and give her her own show. No, what they want to do is cast a black actress and put her in a hand-me-down costume that Ruby Rose farted in, promoting so-called diversity passively but aggressively participating in the same old racism by putting a black woman in a white woman's costume and making her look like she's second best to this white woman. Moreover, the character of Ryan Wilder is further insulting when you look at the origins they plan for this character. I mean, your Kate Kane is the cousin of Bruce Wayne. She has access to Wayne Enterprises. She has access to the Batcave. But your Ryan Wilder, when she's supposed to get this costume, she's this homeless woman living in a van with a plant. Basically, they have insulted black women by saying, one, all black women are poor, and two, all black women need to take some white woman's leftovers in order to be a hero. That's an insult to black women. And most black women, they're so emotional and caught up in the whole idea of so-called diversity that they can't, and being represented, that they can't see how your Greg Berlanti has passive aggressively slapped black women in the face by, yes, passively, he has included a bisexual black woman as a hero, but the character he gives her is chock full of old stereotypes and not even on the same level as Kate Kane when she came into the show. Now, Kate Kane, when she came into the show, she was a character who, one, came from the comics, two, had a backstory with her father in it as they were trying to protect Gotham City, and three, she was just a very, what if they had good writers, could have been a compelling character had they not put all this identity politics in the show. Your Ryan Wilder, in contrast, is a slapped together character, and this slapped together character, it basically is out here. She has no connection to the Batman lore. She has no connection to the Batman history. She does not have access to resources on the same level as your Kate Kane or your Bruce Wayne, and her whole motivation for being Batwoman makes no logical sense when you think about it critically, and it wouldn't flow into the story established into season 1 organically. And that's the big problem with this Javica Leslie as Batwoman. It just does not flow organically, and in many ways, it reminds me a lot of what happened with Halle Berry when she took the role as Patience Phillips in Pitoff's disastrous 2004 Catwoman. And if anyone remembers 2004's Catwoman and how bad that movie was, it was bad because of the lack of connection to the original comic books and source material, and the fact that they decided to make this brand new character who had no connection to the Batman lore and made no logical sense whatsoever in terms of her origin, in terms of her character, or in terms of her powers. And most people saw that character as a laughing stock, and many more see this character of Ryan Wilder as a laughing stock when you think about story elements that have been proposed, like your Ryan Wilder living in a van. Many people who remember Chris Farley's classic comedy sketch about living in a van down by the river, when they hear about Ryan Wilder living in a van, it makes them think about that old Chris Farley sketch, especially when you think about how ridiculously badly written the original Batwoman season 1 was, and the whole concept of the Berlanti curse. When you understand that Berlanti shows don't get better with season 2, they actually get worse with season 2. The whole show is going to devolve into unintentional comedy. And that's what I see Batwoman season 2 devolving into, an unintentional comedy of errors, as they constantly will try to push social justice, identity politics, and then race politics in a show that will become a complete mess. And this whole concept, again, breathing this life into these old stereotypes where you have this poor black woman, she's in this show, and she's supposed to be Batwoman. It makes you shake your head, because this concept really was not thought through, not executed well, and clearly came from a place of desperation from these CW executives who knew that they had already lost the audience of comic fans that used to watch their shows like Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Black Lightning. Those fans were no longer interested in the show, after the dreadful first season. So now Greg Berlanti wants to try to turn the show into a black show to try to bring in the black audience. But many of the black audience, I believe, is going to be turned off when they have this black woman living in a van being Batwoman, and Lucius Fox being in an emasculated beta male role still in season 2, and no organic and dynamic connection between the events of season 1 and the events of season 2, or any sort of development of Batman's classic rogues gallery or anything related to Bruce Wayne. So the whole show is looking like a disaster on paper, and it's looking like they're trying to save this show, but the whole effort to try to pander to black audiences, this is going to be, as I see it, one of the greatest wrong moves in television history, because trying to go out here and pander to a black audience, it really, again, is an insult, because first you went to the comic fans and the white comic fans to get this show and try to have them support it, but now you want to go to black people and have us take these scraps off the table and have us take those scraps and make us think that taking leftovers is acceptable, and that's just not acceptable. I mean, that's not acceptable for us as I see it, and it shouldn't be acceptable, because if you want to give us a good show, then give us a good show that's high quality, and give us a good show that will present compelling stories, interesting characters, present us with something that will really be exciting and fun to watch. And it's clear to me that you don't want to give us something fun to watch. You just want to give us scraps and leftovers. And if you want to go that route, Greg Berlanti, then you can go broke. Because if you don't want to give black people your best, then we shouldn't take the time to watch your worst. I mean, plain and simple, nobody should have to accept trash and leftovers from hand-me-down superheroes and hand-me-down characters and hand-me-down stories. We should be getting the very best in terms of storytelling, the very best in terms of character development, and the very best in terms of, as related to a superhero show that presents us a positive image of diversity and a positive image of a character. I don't want to read a comic book or watch a TV show with a character wearing a hand-me-down costume and a crap origin where they're living in a van down by the river. No, give me a story where the black heroine is on the level of what I created with Isis, where she's in the lead, she has her own resources, and she can go out here and fight crime on her terms, not on the terms of someone else. That's what I want to give young black girls when I go out here and give them a heroine. And I want to give them a heroine where they look at her and say, she has her own stories, she has her own adventures, and she isn't somebody there trying to be a token and a fill-in to try to pander to other people. No, this is a character that is there and distinct and can stand on their own 2 feet based on their own merits. That's what I want to give viewers, and I believe Greg Berlanti is giving people less than his best by casting the Javica Leslie as Ryan Wilder, and Ryan Wilder is a weaker character than the poorly adapted version of your Kate Kane. And the saddest thing is, these people, they want to make a show for the alphabet community, but they do the alphabet community a disservice, because you don't want to give the alphabet community the best, which was what we got in the New 52 comics with Batwoman. We got the absolute very best with that series, and it's a shame we didn't get that translated to the screen, because so many were caught up in identity politics that they couldn't craft an adaptation of a truly great story. If you want to pick up a book featuring my positive black heroines like Isis and Eastine, you can pick up those characters in paperback and Kindle format in the Isis series and the Eastine series on Amazon.com. in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords in the iBookstore and Barnes & Noble. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, the Beauty Myth. Learn the beauty secrets of the goddess next door in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis, the Beauty Myth at online booksellers everywhere today.